Joining me live now is Republican strategist John Jordan. John, thanks for your time this morning. A record win for Trump, more votes than all of his rivals combined and nearly twice as large as the previous record set 36 years ago. Donald Trump looks stronger politically than he did in 2016. Would these numbers out of Iowa be terrifying President Joe Biden?
Yes, it's not just these numbers in Iowa. The Iowa numbers were historic for President Trump. Unprecedented, more than almost twice what everybody else got combined. The problem President Biden has, a lot of these state-by-state polls and these national polls. The national polling average in our realclearpolitics.com shows Biden underwater by a little more than 1 percentage point, and he's behind in most of the states that he really needs to win. If President Trump wins back Georgia and Arizona, he only needs to win one of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, or Minnesota. And right now, he's almost double digits ahead in Georgia and Arizona, and ahead in almost all of those other states. And basically, it's about economics. And President Biden has fallen flat on his face with that. And people have lost confidence in the bargain that President Biden tried to strike in 2020, that he was the return to normalcy, that he was the sane one. And that's turning out to not be true, especially with what's going on at the southern border and inflation. And it's hard to see how any of these forces really turn around for President Biden in the next 10 months.
In the race for second place, Ron DeSantis pipped out Nikki Haley, which was a surprise to many. What do these results mean for Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, do you think?
Yeah, great question. The trick to understanding this is the sequence of the next states as we go up to Super Tuesday on March 5th. Next up is obviously New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a state that's more friendly to Nikki Haley, and she'll be more competitive there. But even if she comes close to Trump, it probably won't matter. Moving on to DeSantis and Trump compete for the same type of voter, of which there's fewer in New Hampshire. So this could be the death knell for Ron DeSantis in New Hampshire. Nikki Haley, after this, has to go on to Nevada. And I'll make a prediction for you that she withdraws before South Carolina. Even though she was governor of South Carolina, every survey there is by Democrats, Republicans, and media outlets show that she's going to get smoked by Trump in South Carolina. And she is not going to want to risk that happening because she's young. In fact, I had dinner with her here a year ago when she was out in California. She is not going to want to get humiliated in her home state. So look for her to probably try to find a graceful way out, especially if the polls in the Super Tuesday states are overwhelmingly for Trump, to try to get out of this to preserve her future and avoid an embarrassment.
By what you're telling us now, it seems like Donald Trump has wrapped this up and he's likely to be the next Republican presidential nominee.
Yeah, you don't say, I don't ever speak in absolutes in the world of politics, but it is overwhelmingly probable. And the American public and the media needs to understand this, that it's almost to the point where it's unlosable. We've talked about these little states, New Hampshire, Iowa, South Carolina, but then on March 5th comes Super Tuesday. And that is all of the American South, pretty much, including Texas and a lot of these big states, including California. And Trump is going to win the delegates, and this is a race for delegates. He's going to win almost all of those states and wrap up enough delegates on March 5th to have an insurmountable lead. If Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis don't come out of this with enough momentum and a crapload of money to be able to compete in these enormous media markets in Florida, Texas, and California, it's over. So, and it's hard to see that happening, and the window through which they have to thread the needle is getting really, really hard to envision when you look at the structure of this race and how it plays out over time and where everyone has to compete compared to the polls.
Well, John Jordan, I'm sure we'll probably talk to you again in the near future. Thanks so much for your thoughts this morning.